Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Power Alliance podcast. Today is a bonus episode, and I'm calling this my birthday episode. I'm so excited about my guest. Wait till you hear the story of how we met, which was literally like 3 days ago, and all that God has done in 3 days. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can already see she's beautiful and she just looks vibrant and full of life. Let me tell you a little bit about Summer. Summer Day is a highly sought after international speaker and success coach who helps women from around the globe shift fear into faith. You're going to hear us talk a lot about that. She has spoken to and motivated thousands of people on platforms all over the world. She uses her voice and her influence to set captives free and awaken the sleeping lions to take back territories for the kingdom. I could stop there, but I'm not going to. She was born and raised in Southern California, just like me. She holds degrees and certifications from 3 different colleges. Before God called her into speaking and coaching, she spent 25 years teaching and training children and adults in countless musical theater productions. She has also run multiple successful businesses. She always has had a heart for those less fortunate to her. A trip to Russia when she was 17 opened her eyes to the extreme poverty that others live in and how blessed she truly is. Since then, she has traveled to other countries, continually speaks to raise awareness and financial support for those, for the extreme poor, the orphan, and the widow. Biblical, by the way. This year, her team has a goal to raise $50,000 to get children and women out of sex trafficking. Summer is the proud Proverbs 31 wife to Marcelo. She is the mother of 3 beautiful warriors. She has a daughter, 12, 8, and 4 years old. And in 2020, they sold all their belongings to pick up their mat and walk, moved into an RV, and travel around the country to serve God wherever He is calling them. Welcome to the podcast.
Wow, what an interview. What not an interview, what a welcome. What a way to start. Thanks for reading that.
A lot of stuff. I mean, we could do 7 podcasts just because of the intro alone by going like section by section.
Well, thanks. I received that.
Let me tell everybody that's listening how we met. So I was doing a Zoom kind of like, I don't know, just a meet and greet call with a woman that reached out to me on Facebook. She was from Australia and she asked me at the end of the call, she said, "What can I pray for you? Like, what can I pray about for you?" And I said, "Oh, well, I'm embarking on this insane event that we're doing. It's the biggest event I've ever done, blah, blah, blah. You could pray for that." She goes, "Well, have you heard of Summer?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And so she told me your name. I went on Facebook. I saw her, just her little bio, like the one at the top right under. And I was like, "Oh, I like her already." Friend requested her. Didn't think much about it because you know how social media is these days. And within, I don't know, a couple of hours, she messaged me. We were messaging back and forth. Then she called me, an actual Facebook call, which, have you ever gotten one of those if you're watching or listening? I have before. I've never answered one ever because usually, you know, who calls on Facebook? But I answered. And we had this incredible conversation. And it was one of those divine appointments where I felt an instant sisterhood, an instant connection. And like within just that short phone call, God already had so many things preordained, planned. And here we are, like a couple days later, recording the podcast.
Well, first of all, happy birthday episode.
Coming up.
So excited for you. And you're so sweet. What an incredible honor just to be on this podcast with you. And yes, very divine appointment. Can I share what was happening on my end?
Please.
Okay, so on my end, I went to a Patricia King conference last weekend, and the big message that God hit me with was pressure. And He was telling me, you get to walk out of pressure. And I'm like, okay, what am I feeling pressure in? Okay, 2 things. One, we're creating this 52-week Bible study journal, which I'm sure you're going to ask me questions about.
Yep.
And then the event that we're working on. And so God was very gentle. He's like, you get to step out of pressure. And so here I'm on deadlines, and we're finding 52 stories of inspiring women. And I sat down and I looked at what we had. I thought I only needed about 5 more, and it turned out I needed 19 more. And I sat on my bed and I turned to my husband. I said, you know, I really feel pressure wanting to kind of come in right now, but I'm going to release that. And I get to find 19 more inspiring stories. And I'm excited to see how God's going to show up and give me those right away, because He has told me very clearly, I don't get to feel pressure over that. And it was definitely within like 1 or 2 hours that I got your friend request, which A, I get a lot of those and I usually don't accept them. B, I never then go to the person's profile, which I did. I saw your profile and I'm like, faith influencer. Yeah, count me in. And then I messaged you, which I also never do that. I know what I wrote too. I was like, hey girl, tell me all the things because I was just like, who are you? Instantly felt like God was like going, hello. Like you're on the runway at the airport and he's like, doo doo, this way. Like, okay, paying attention. And so then when we started messaging, it was too divine. And that's why I called. And I was like, okay, this is weird. I don't ever call women like this, but let's see what
It
happens.
wasn't weird though. The weird thing is it wasn't weird.
Yeah, the weird thing was it wasn't weird. And then the first thing out of your mouth was like, oh, well, I've been podcasting for 4 years. Like, how many stories do you need? Like, I could get you 100 if you want. And I just laughed. I was like, of course you can, because God told me to step out of pressure. And when you are obedient, this is what happens. He likes to show up and show off. So
Mm,
you got
chills.
me already like the very next day, like 9 stories came in. And I think there's 4 more that just came in. So we're really, really, really getting close to our goal of having the 52 so that we can get it in the editor's hands and get it printed before July 10th. So
Okay.
that was what going on my end. So it was literally direct obedience of God saying, don't be in pressure, and me stepping out of it. And then in walks Michelle.
Can I just say praise God for obedience? It is a word, obedience and submission seem to be words that we as a culture of human beings seem to kind of like reject those. But those are such divine, powerful words that if you can actually humble yourself, if you can humble yourself, if you can trust God enough to humble yourself, realizing you're not God, and you can submit your heart to Him and you can obey the things that He says to you, even though it's totally counterintuitive, miraculous stuff happens like rapid fire miraculous stuff happens.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. That's what happened. And I feel like I've just been on fire ever since. And then
Same.
and then I told you about my event, and now you're going to be speaking at the event.
There's some okay, we're going to get to the event, but before that I want to
Okay.
back up because when the girl that told me the girl from Australia told me to friend you, she didn't have it exactly right. She said she posted on Facebook that she wanted to do a Bible study.
Mhm.
I just figured, like a Bible study. And she got thousands of people within a super short period of time. Will you tell everybody the story of that? Because this is, again, just God.
Yes. Okay. So I finished reading the Bible cover to cover for the first time April of last year. And it took me 2 years. My original goal was one. So as soon as I finished, God was like, okay, sweetie, do it again. And this time do it in a year and hit your goal. And I kind of drug my feet for like 2 months. I was like, really? Again? It was kind of a lot. And
I
he's
just
like, yeah,
did
again.
it.
And so I decided to go Facebook Live and see if I could find 5 friends that would want to read the Bible cover to cover in a year and hold me accountable. I mean, it was really selfish. I was like, I need accountability so that I can do this with the Lord. And then before I was done speaking, 25 women were like, oh, me, which is crazy because how many times do you go live and you don't even have 25 people that like show up to watch? So
Yeah.
that was crazy. And then they invited their friends. I don't know what was going on. There was over 200 women in the first day. And then it went from 1,000, it went from 2,000, jumped from 2,000 to 4,000 in a day. And then we started with 6,700 women in a Facebook group and me going, what are you doing, Lord? Like, I am not a pastor's wife. I don't know how to lead women through reading the Bible. But he was super clear. He was like, you're a gatherer of people. And all I want you to do is get them across the finish line, encourage and hold them accountable, and get as many women as you can to read the Bible cover to cover in a year. And so we are on month 10. We are so close to being done, which has been
Amazing.
exciting. The other part to that, the other component was God. I was talking to God and I said, well, so many women have never successfully done it and they've tried. In fact, we have a little testimony going in our book of a lady who says, I've been reading the Bible for 58 years and I have never successfully read it cover to cover. I've tried countless times and I never have. But with this group of women and with the Bible journal, I've been able to do it and it's radically changed my life. And so I was like, well, what could we do? Women like to rally around a cause. Let's rally around a cause. Sex trafficking is near and dear to my heart. So we paired up with King's Ransom Foundation and we started a team page with the goal to raise $50,000 in a year. And we had women donating 5, 10, $20 a month. And then we did some Zoom events. And actually, in 9 months, we raised $68,000, shattering our goal to get women and kids out of sex trafficking. And now our new goal is at our live event, July 10th and 11th, we want to do $50,000 just in those 2 days. So that's our big audacious goal. And the event, the event is because when all these women were coming in and we started reading the Bible, I had a vision of bringing them together. God was like, at the end, bring them together and finish. So the last 2 days of the Bible challenge is going to be all together in San Antonio. And we're going to put the last couple paragraphs of Revelation up on the screen. And then all the women in the room, whether they're part of the Bible challenge or not, are going to get to read it out loud together. And so we'll be finishing like that. That'll be the grand finale. I don't know if I told you this. Did you know we started group in September and in January? We actually have 3
No.
groups reading the Bible cover to cover.
Oh, so in different places.
Yeah, we have women in 3 different sections because so many women, like their friends found out later and they're like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I want to do it. And then we also had women who fell behind. And I was
Mm.
like, well, rather than like just cram to catch up, we're just going to start a group in September so you could start. And we've had a vision of wanting to be able to start women at any time. And I did not tell you this either. With the journal coming out, we have a text messaging service. And we just got it all done. So like you can literally text Genesis to our text servicing and it'll tell you what to read and you can get started. So
Mm.
our dream and our vision is when the journal comes out is to commission women, now go find 10 women or 6,700, whatever, to now you do it, you lead it. And now we have the journal that you can use and we have the text. We're also turning it into an app. And so you don't have to think about it. You'll get text to you every day, what you're going to read with journal questions and all that. So that's all getting ready to roll as well.
I mean, just a few things.
Just a few things.
Like nothing going on in your life right now. It's
Do you want me
amazing,
to
right?
explain the journal? Do you want me to tell about the journal?
Please talk about it because and explain to everybody what happened and why God chose you and because you just tell them the story. I'll be quiet.
Okay, well, if I don't know how much I've told, but if I backtrack, because I did, I literally, when we had thousands of women, I collapsed on my bathroom floor and I was crying. I was like, God, like why me? I can't do this. Who am I? Why are you having me this? I was actually born and raised Mormon. Some women are gonna find that out and like freak out. Like I'm not.
Not these listeners. They won't freak out.
Well, I'm totally I'm okay with saying all that now. It's part of who I was. But I thought I'm so unworthy. And I called my best friend. I was, you've been a Christian your whole life. You've been in countless Bible studies. You come lead. I can't do this. But God, for the last couple of years, he's had me do Facebook Lives. He told me 8 days before COVID lock-in, I went Facebook Live and prayed and read Psalms 91. And I said, God has told me to go Facebook Live for 91 days in a row and pray. I had never prayed on Facebook Live. I was terrified of being judged. And I said, I don't know why, but he said, do this. And then the lock-ins happened and we were like, okay, I know why. And then on about day 86, 87, the riot started. And so I told everyone, I think I'm going to keep going. So I did 108 days actually in a row, ending in June. So God was like, yeah, duh, they want to come be in this because they just watched you diligently every day, show up and pray. He was like, I was preparing the field. So when you opened your mouth and said, hey, who wants to read the Bible? All these women, a lot of them, they had already seen me praying and all of that. So that's kind of how he prepared the fields, but I didn't know what he was doing. And so the Bible journal, when I was like, oh, I don't know what to do, a lady was like, well, get this book. It's a Bible journal for women and it tells you like what to read and then that's how you can lead everyone. So I told all these women, like hundreds of women bought this book. And we're hit the ground running. We're posting the questions in the group and on week 5, it jumped to Matthew. And everyone's like, oh, it jumps to Matthew. Okay, we're going to Matthew. I'm like, no, wait, hold on. God's really clear, cover to cover, Summer, cover to cover, lead them cover to cover. Very few of my Christian followers have actually read the Bible cover to cover like a regular book. And so he's like, it's got to be cover to cover. So I told everyone, I'm like, I'm so sorry, but kind of, we got to just like throw that thing away. And we're going to just start our own schedule. And we started doing our own journal questions and everything. And then we tried really hard to find a Bible study journal for women that went cover to cover in a year, and we couldn't find it. And so a lady was like, it's because God's telling you to create it. And so we've been working on creating it. It's each chapter has, like, in the beginning, it's got what do you read? So you can read 15 to 20 minutes a day. It takes Sunday off and read the whole Bible cover to cover. That's all it takes. And so it's got the schedule. And then we have like faith in action where it tells you like just really great tips that you can do that week to build your faith. It's got journal questions. And then God gave me the vision of inspiring these women. So every week with a story of a woman who's shifted from fear into faith, um, as just like keep going, girl, keep going. Or I don't know where you are in your life, but God did this for me. He can do it for you too. So we have a wide array of stories that's come in, heart wrenching stories over here, and then just super inspiring stories of faith over there. And we're getting so close. All the journal questions are done. Like the first 3 pages of every chapter is done. I'm just waiting on those last few stories. And then it's going over to the editor and the concept designer. And we're going to get it hardcover, printed, and in people's hands by the time we finish. Because the goal is then, what does Jesus say? Send them out 2 by 2, out in the world. We're like, okay, now you take this. And we want to do big discounts if you buy, a pack of 10 or more, and then go. And now you're commissioned to go lead. And we've had countless women who have said, as soon as I'm done, I'm going to do it again. One lady has already an organization of 300 women that are literally ready to start once this one ends in July to start over again. So we'll see what God wants to do with that.
So is your goal to have book in hand for your event in July, or is that just too audacious?
No, it's not too audacious. We're going to make it happen.
Okay.
I know people who have
I'm
like,
down for that.
well, you're an author. Some people have like, you can do it if you jam. And I have 2 editors ready to like comb through the thing really fast. And then I have somebody ready to kind of
It's
piece it all together.
100% possible. I wrote my
Yeah.
first book in 3 weeks. No, no,
Nice.
no. I'm sorry. 13 days.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So
I heard that like it's from the editing to the printing to in your hand that takes more time. But I was like, God's the author of all time. I know we can get this in everybody's hands. So, and
yeah,
I'm released of pressure. Isn't that awesome? So, but I
amazing.
think that we will have all the stories. Well, we talked to your fabulous friend today and she's going to get a story. So I'm like, she's going to be the last. She's 52 right there.
Mm.
And
Oh,
I'm
I'm so
calling forth the
excited.
rest of them before that.
We're talking about Ann Byler. Those of you who've been part of the community know that she was a speaker at the Bloom Summit last year, and you've seen me do stuff with her online. She is the founder of Auntie Anne's Pretzels. She's the founder of Stories Times 8. She's a mentor, friend, like just warrior of all warriors. She's an author, a speaker, and I just absolutely I was like, you need to get hooked up with Anne because her story is just one of those ones that you're like, what? When you hear the story, and I just gave you cliff notes, but when you hear it, you're like, wait, what? Wait, what? And it's just a remarkable story. So I'm so excited about that.
Oh, and when I was on the call with the 2 of you, which was totally divine, we're like, can you do now? Can you do tomorrow? How about Monday? How about this? And she's like, how about now? And I'm like, yeah. And Michelle's like, oh, I'll jump on too. And I was on the phone with the 2 of you. I got off the phone and I was just like trembling. I was trembling with Holy Spirit fire, just going, oh my gosh, Lord, I know that I'm a pretty big visionary, but whatever you're creating right now, I feel in the spirit is so huge. I know that my alignment with you and Anne is not just for this event or journal.
Nope,
It's
not
it's
at all.
it's really high level kingdom work. And I don't know. I'm like a 5-year-old on too much candy. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is next? What are you doing?
I feel you, and I felt that way like this whole week for some reason. It's been a lot of like God's just doing big stuff, and it's just a confirmation for me personally, because back in 2019 when He was casting the vision for what's happening, what's beginning to happen now with Girl Power Alliance and all the things that are happening, but the specific thing that I'm talking about is He told me that we were going to be seeing the biggest revival that the world had ever seen. And that women were going to be the catalyst for the revival. And it was going to be women outside of the big C church, women in the marketplace, women doing things like what you're doing and what we're doing. And so, over the last year, I have watched him do some crazy stuff. And it's funny because, That was before COVID. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how things are happening. And the two things didn't make sense. One, there's going to be a massive shift in the church. And two, this revival with women. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what you mean, but I'm down. Like, I'll obey. Like, I've learned that's one thing coming up on my 48th birthday. One thing I've learned, like, you just obey. You can
Mhm.
question it inside yourself. You can wonder. You could say it doesn't make sense. You can say you don't want to do it, but you just better obey. You just obey. I obey blindly with what the
Mhm.
Lord says.
Yep.
And so I didn't, obviously had no idea what was coming. And I still really don't. But what I like to say is, do you ever do crafting? Did you ever do needlepoint or anything?
No.
Okay. So
I was raised with 6 brothers. I was a very big tomboy.
okay, so tomboy. I was too, total tomboy. But my grandmother, no, my great grandmother did needlepoint.
Mhm.
And so needlepoint, you've seen them on the wall. They sometimes have
Mhm.
little phrases or they're just these little very intricate, they almost look like embroidery on one side, this beautiful picture. But if you ever have you ever looked at the back, it's a freaking mess. It's a knot, it's a
Oh,
mess.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's a mess on the back. And so that is what life is like for us. It's the
Mhm.
mess of all the strings. There's no rhyme or reason. There's certainly no pattern, but every now and again, God will go like this and he will flip it over to show you what is the tapestry that's being created. And over the last year, he's flipped it over a couple of times. He's like, keep going, look. And then I get the mess again, but he'll be like, okay, look at this. And that I know that's what's happening in the world. And activating as many women as possible, connecting with women like you, supporting you, helping to just lift up and magnify what you're doing. Nothing in my life has ever lit me up more.
It's obvious. I can tell. I love that. That needlepoint. That's a great visual. And I have felt the same thing. I have felt like the little peekaboo of God going, ha. That's how it was today. When I was on
Want
the
to see
call
what
with
it's
y'all,
looking
he was
like?
like, looky Lou. Oh. And I'm like, wait, do that again. What was
Again.
it? Yeah. And it can look like a hot mess, but there is so much power moving. I mean, I went from the Patricia King event to meeting you, and it's just one thing catalysting to another right before our interview. You don't even know this yet. I got off a phone call with a lady who she wants to connect me with Upper Room, and I didn't even know what that was.
I don't know if I've heard of it, but
It's a
let's talk about
huge
it.
like mega church, and she's like, yeah, my friend wrote that song. Wait, I am who you say I am. She's like, have you heard that
Uh-huh.
song? I'm like, I live that song. And she was like, yeah, that's from that church. And then I run out and talk to my husband. He's like, like there's like Hillsong, there's like Upper Room. I'm like, oh, okay, yay. So I'm just going, okay, doc, where do you want to connect me next, Nord? Or here I am, send me.
Yep.
Here I am, send me. And I'm so on fire for what he's creating in this event. Should I talk about how the event came?
Yeah, talk about the event, and then I want you to talk about the event because
Mhm.
what we need to do, and the reason that this is the birthday bonus podcast that's going to come out before other podcasts that have been recorded, is because there is a sense of urgency. And if you
Yeah.
are listening to this, pay attention to what she's going to tell you because you're supposed to be at that event.
Mm.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, 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 yes. So I am a speaker and a coach. And when the women started coming into this Facebook group, they're all introducing themselves and everything. There was a lot of brokenness. And
Mhm.
my friend her husband is a pastor. She was like, Summer, you have a larger congregation than my husband. Do you not see what God's doing? And I'm like, no. She goes, these women are so broken. It took several, like about a dozen women commenting to catch up. Like we couldn't catch up. When this happened, it became a full-time job for me, my husband, and I hired my best friend. Oh, it's a whole other story. That's a Can I just tangent really quick?
Please.
Literally, I prayed because I was like, we have to hire an admin. Like I can't keep up with the emails, keep up with the Facebook group, add people fast enough. There's like 714 requests to join the group. And you have to go through each one individually because some of them were men or some of that like so it was so much work. And I got on the phone with a powerful warrior and she's like, what exactly do you need? I was like, I need to hire an admin. She goes, great. How much money? I said, $2,000. She's like, great, let's pray it in. She prays. The next day, we're having our garage sale to, get rid of all of our stuff. And we got a connection through church to borrow these giant tents to put up. And the lady comes in and she's looking at some of our kitchen items. And I was like, oh, just take those for free. You're so sweet, because she didn't know me at all. To lend to a stranger these tents, you're just amazing. You don't know what it means to me. Please just take them. She's like, I insist on paying. She goes out, she comes back, and she hands me an envelope of cash. And she said, God told me to give this to you. I have no idea how much is in here. I just know that what you're doing, your ministry, whatever you have going on, God told me to support, and here you go. And I'm just going, what is going on? A stranger is at my house handing me an envelope of money, and I'm sure you're guessing. We counted out, and it's $1,980. And I'm going, I mean, I am bawling. I'm like, what? And then I'm like triple checking. I'm like, why not 2000, Lord? Like, there's a 20 missing. And he goes, no, it's so other people can step up and be the last 20. Go Facebook Live. And I did. And we had over $500 more come in from everybody wanting to be the last $20, which was like unreal. So then I was able to hire the admin to help get everything running. So that was a tangent. So here's all these broken women. And I said to my friend, well, you're a coach, you're a coach, you're a coach. What if four of us do like a 1 hour workshop on a Saturday? We'll just do it for free. We'll support these women and we'll just sow into them. And so we started putting that together. And the next thing you know, I had so many female speakers and we had so many ideas. We decided just to do a 2-day event. We had over 500 women that registered for it. We did the event and we all like watched in awe of what God did. We all watched as these women in the chat, just chains broke, confessions of women who were sexually assaulted, never told anyone, women who had had secret abortions, secret affairs, all kinds of things, masturbation addictions for decades. So many things that happened in this event. And I was not prepared for it. I mean, I was so overwhelmed by what God created. And then we had tons of women who were like, oh, I signed up, but I didn't make it. And the other women are like, when are you doing it again? My friend needs to be here. And I got message after message. So we did another one in January. And then we just did our third one in April. And I had no idea that that was the training ground, because now when God's like, put this event on, I'm like, oh, I got this. We've done it on Zoom. We're just going to take this, tweak it to make it live. And then, you know, you mentioned my theater background. So putting on events and stuff like that, I've been doing like my whole life. And so we're very excited. And that's like when I met you and I'm like, are you a speaker? You're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I think you're supposed to speak at my event. Because we're looking for more powerful women now that we're going to be live to just kind of flesh out, you know, the agenda of who's going to be there. So that's how the live event first was, the vision of get the women together. And then now it's like, okay, and then put this live on stage. So we're calling it Fear into Faith Live.
The end. Buy your ticket. What I know is this, is that there is a powerful movement happening. There is a hunger inside people that maybe heard of the Lord but didn't know him, or people that knew the Lord and fell away, or people that just don't even know what they don't know, but they know they need something. There is a hunger. It is a global groaning. Like the earth is groaning for more Jesus. And if you're listening to this or watching this, I know you've felt it because you're a human being. And we have this deep-seated, innate need to connect with the Lord. And we fill it with all kinds of things until you know what it really is. You fill it with shopping, addiction, lying, overeating, alcohol, whatever, all busyness. You fill it with all these things, but it never goes away. The yearning never stops. And then you meet Jesus. And it's a whole different kind of insatiable desire, because he fills you in a way that nothing else can. And he changes you and shifts you and transforms you, and you can't get enough. So for all of us, there is, and then we've been locked away. We've been locked down, and great things have happened. Don't get me wrong. We've been able to use technology in supernatural and miraculous ways over the last year and a half. So that's true. But there is a reason that God calls us to gather. And so having a live event in July of this caliber with these topics for women, I keep telling Summer, it will change you on a cellular level. You will not leave the same woman. I guarantee you. So it will sell out. I can promise you that, because it's actually not a huge, like, what's the sellout? What's the max capacity?
Oh, 400.
It'll be sold out. So if you're listening to this, we're recording this in May. This is going to come out in June, right before my birthday. And it might already be sold out by the time we release this podcast. So tell everybody how to get a ticket.
Yeah, it's really easy. It's fearintofaith.com. So fearintofaith.com. And that's what we're doing. We're shifting
Well,
women
where is
out of
it?
fears.
And tell all the things like
Oh,
that kind
great.
of stuff.
Yeah. July 10th and 11th, although we do have a VIP sort of kickoff pre party on Friday for those who want to do that. And it's at the San Antonio West Inn Riverwalk Hotel in San Antonio. And is that the details?
Texas, baby.
fearintofaith.com. I had
Well,
another
get a
thought.
ticket. Go get
Uh,
a ticket.
yeah, man, it's hard to explain when you feel just all of it in your spirit. I've been going to live events for a couple decades. I've been to a lot of live events all over this country, and I just know that God's going to create something just special and unique. And you were talking about everybody hungering for Jesus and being locked in. Women need, well, people, but women especially, they need community right now, like they need to breathe.
Yeah.
And if that is you, I need you to know that this community of women is so incredible. We had 60 women raise $16,000 to get kids and women out of the sex trafficking. These women have huge hearts. And the thing that we keep hearing is that when they come to our events, they drop these chains because they feel safe. They feel accepted. They feel free to be themselves, and they feel loved very quickly. And they're shocked at how fast they're able to connect to women that they didn't know 5 minutes ago and just be real and raw. And women after women are like, I just like they found Jesus in a Zoom room. It's absolutely crazy. So if that's what God has done 3 times now on Zoom, I'm like, OMG, when we gather in his name, it's going to be unreal. Women, I bet, are going to meet their lifelong best friend. They waited their whole life to meet at this event. The camaraderie and community, people are going to weep when they have to go home because it's going to anoint and just, I don't know, rally the women.
Kent revival, baby.
Yeah, revival. That's what it feels like. It feels like these women are going to get filled up so that they can go ripple effect radically um, out in the world.
The Great Commission. It's the great we need to be filled so that we can go out and fill, and that is exactly what will happen. So I want to make sure that if you're listening to this, you do what it takes to get there. You do what it takes. I have been an entrepreneur my entire life. When I was a stylist, I stood behind the chair. Women paid me thousands upon thousands of dollars to put hair on their heads with extensions, and they used checks, credit card, hidden money. They found a way to make something like that happen. You can make this happen. You need this to happen. Your soul needs this to happen. And let me just add one thing to this event. Even if you feel the nudge, which I know you do, okay? I know if you're listening to this and you're hearing my voice, you hear the nudge. And you're thinking, yeah, but it's kind of selfish. I can't really afford it. Let me tell you something. The world cannot afford for you not to go. Because
Ooh.
there are things that you are called to do that you need to be filled up and prepared for, and this event will do that for you. So it's not even about you, even though it's about you, it's about what God wants to do through you.
Mm.
So get to the event.
Ah, yes, that was brilliant. What she said. That's so true. I don't know why I didn't think about that. When I coach, I tell women, I had a lady who's like, I don't like you right now. I said, I don't care. I really don't care if you like me because I see your ripple effect. When I look at you, I see hundreds of women behind you that are like sitting at a bus stop going, when is she going to get here? As in, when are you going to radically step into the calling God
Yeah.
has and lead the group of women you're called to lead? And so I see your ripple effect behind you. And I didn't think about that in terms of the event. Now you got me fired up of like, it's not even about you. You are coming to get filled to go be the ripple effect back in your community, and your community can't afford for you not to go.
The
Wow.
world cannot afford. The world cannot afford for every seat not to be filled in that room with women waiting to be filled so they can go out and fill somebody else's cup. It's important. It's needed. It's like dire. This is so beyond anything that I get it. I feel it. I feel the same fire with the stuff that I'm doing. It's not, and I try to explain this to people because type A people, which I'm guessing you're type A like me, us type A's, we drive. Like we drive. We can make stuff happen, man. Like I could always count on myself because I could go work. But there is that's of me. And there is a huge difference between a push and a pull. I push. I'm good at pushing. And it doesn't always end well. But when you allow God to pull you, the pull, when you get into that flow and you allow God to pull you into something, it's it's about so much more than just you. It's about so much more than just you. And you allow his power, his strength to come through, and you are being pulled to this event, ladies. So buy your ticket. We will see you there. I'm super excited. I'll be there. I'm excited to be there. I'd be there even if I wasn't going to be talking, I'd go. So, I mean, just get there. Just get there. How can people find you though? Like
Uh,
they want to coach with you. They're like, I love her. I need her. Tell them other things. How can they find you, connect with you? What do
yeah,
you offer?
I am at summerday.com. So that's my middle name. It is spelled DEY. So summer, SUMMER, DEY.com. And you can find out about my coaching stuff on there. You can find me on Facebook, Summer Day. Kashiajoni is my last name, but if you type Summer Day, you'll find me. And Instagram is at the Summer Day.
And don't worry, because all of that information is going to be in the show notes if you're listening to this on a podcast. And if you're watching, it's right below and all the information below the video. And I knew we could do like a, like a marathon podcast. We could go in so many different directions, but I know this is not just the first one. And I just want to say thank you
Oh.
for who you are, for your obedience, for what you're doing. I love that your name is Summer, because that is what you are. You're just this warm, vibrant, bright person full of life. And your name absolutely reflects your heart. And I'm so happy that we're new best friends.
I'm happy we're new best friends too. And thank you. I received that. I do want the ladies listening to know I, like you, have my huge backstory where I was not always warm and bright and where I am now. It is literally power of Jesus that I am here where I am, walking in strong amounts of faith. Literally grace of God that rescued me out of countless situations where I wasn't that person, but we can do that interview another time.
I mean, I know that it's because we had a purpose, just so you know, people that are listening, there was a purpose because we want to get as many bodies in the room. Are you going to share your story at the event, maybe?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Well, then there you go. If you
Yeah.
want to hear it live and in person, get your booty to the event. Thank you so much. I'm excited about everything. And please come back and be a guest on the podcast again for like, I don't know, 10 more podcasts.
I will be here for 10 more podcasts. Whatever you want. My answer is yes. When God
Awesome.
connects me this divine, I just say yes. As we say in our house, Summer jumps off the cliff and learns to build the airplane around her on the way down. So
But
yes, whatever it
my
is.
husband calls me a shoot ready aim. So same.
Shoot, ready, aim. I love that. I've not heard that before.
That's
So
what he's all me, ready aim shoot. And he's all her, shoot ready aim.
I love it. You're like, I'm faster than the bullet. It's all good. Whatever.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. This was such an honor. Such an honor. I'm just, like head spinning, like, Lord, what? In
Fun.
3 days and on the podcast?
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, but God told me this would be the year of acceleration. That's what he told me. He said 2021 was going to be the year of acceleration. So,
Well, I hope you got good running shoes.
I've been running pretty much every day in 2021. It's been awesome. You'll hear the whole story at the event.
Get there. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're amazing.